gentlemen, welcome to the Harwich Community Preservation Committee meeting being held in the Don B. Griffin Room, Harwich Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, Mass, on Thursday, January 8th, 2026. This is our regular meeting being held. We're a little bit late, but we're going to go through. This is the call to order. Welcome, guests. Any member of the public would like to speak? Hearing none, moving on. Approval of the minutes, Community Preservation Committee regular meeting minutes from December 11th, 2025. Postponed. New business. Discussion and vote, possible vote. No, I'm sorry. Discussion and vote. Vote to approve and release the previous discussed executive session minutes from October 16th, 2025 and November 13th, 2025 for public availability. Finding the purpose no longer requires confidential under General Law, Section 30A, 22G. Is there a motion?
So, David, normally we have to vote it out of executive session. In executive
Do we have to
session.
go into executive
We
session?
do.
Yeah.
I actually asked Em is the one who told me this, Emily,
Yeah.
town clerk. She told me that we can do this in regular session.
Okay, that's not how I've done it. I've ever done it, but.
We
okay.
can change, we can put this off, and I can do it your way.
If that's
Mary,
how-
what's your recommendation?
If she told us we could do it that way, then we'll just do it that way.
Okay, so is there a motion?
Motion.
Discussion. Motion, second.
Second.
So
Discussion.
So can we clarify the motion?
Go ahead.
I think the motion has to be that we are voting to approve the executive session minutes of October 16th, 2025.
In November.
Or we're voting to release the
That's all.
previously approved. So we're voting to release the previously approved executive session minutes from October 16th, 2025 and November 13th, 2025 with the finding that the purpose no longer requires confidentiality pursuant to General Law 38, Section 22G.
Okay, that's the motion.
That's the
Discussion.
motion.
Just clarification.
Yep. I've never seen this before, public
Right.
availability.
So we're voting to approve the release,
Right.
but have we approved the minutes yet?
Yes, we are.
Yes,
Yeah.
When did we approve those?
November 13th. So the executive session.
Okay, so the executive session was in
16th
October.
of October. And then we approved the executive session minutes on November 13th.
Okay, the way that this reads, it's a little,
Because.
Hold on.
Oh,
I'm just saying that the way that this reads, executive session minutes of October 13th and November 13th for public availability, it kind of reads that they were both executive sessions.
they were.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, so you want to release the executive session that said we approved the minutes of October?
make them publicly
Okay,
available.
all right,
So,
Oh.
any more discussion on the
I
matter?
don't like this.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. Discussion of Harwich Community Preservation Committee financial accounts.
Okay.
Mary,
So, I'm
Here
gonna
we go.
I'm going to preface this by saying, bear with me with this. David asked me, because we don't have certified balances yet, David had asked me to take a look and see what I thought we had for balances. And so this is what I've come up with. I'm happy to go through the numbers and explain to you how we got there. But there are a couple of caveats that you'll see along the way. So what I started with was our working balance sheet from last year. So the first line is what was left in those certified buckets after our vote in February, March, whenever it was this year. So Then I went back to what our balances were from the FY '25 anticipated revenue the year prior. And the only account that had money left in it then was the historic
That's-
anticipated revenue. So that's the reason for the 176.5 being added in there. Then, the third line you'll see is the anticipated revenue that we voted last year, which includes the 10% plus the extra money for the true-up that came out of all of the anticipated revenue for last year. You'll see that third line is not included in the amounts that I think we have available to spend. And the reason for that is that we were always told that while we could spend anticipated revenue, because anticipated revenue is just like your budget, you don't spend funds in the year in which you're in. So because that revenue is still coming in, we can't spend it this year. So I've jumped over those numbers. The good news is that that means next year, those should at least be the minimum amounts going into our certified buckets for next year. Assuming we get to this point and we have certified numbers, which we should. So, so all that being said, that's what the first three lines are.
Can I hold you there?
Yep.
Just for the general information of the board. As I understand it, there's going to be a budget presentation Monday night at the Board of Selectmen meeting. And the certified accounts have just been certified. I was told previously, it was done some time ago, and apparently there were some interesting corrections that had to be made. So, and you saw the email I sent to the finance director. So, hopefully, after Monday night, I can get on the Board of Selectmen agenda and ask for more information that we need. So, I just wanted to put that in there. Mary, you have the floor.
So my hope is that this all becomes moot and then we get actual numbers and we can start this from scratch again. If that doesn't happen, this is what I'm starting from.
Okay. And does the board agree with that? John?
I don't understand it, so I'm not gonna agree with it until I understand it. But what I think I heard you say is that we should not be spending any of the anticipated, that 270 in each of the slots and the remainder for undesignated, we shouldn't be spending any of it.
From last year.
From last year, we have the ability to spend anticipated funds.
So the anticipated funds, we should be working against the anticipated funds and the fiscal year 2025 certified.
Certified such as they are, right.
I see, so that's the way we've always done it, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct, but
all right.
but everybody's hasn't, John, Art's new, so I'm just trying to clarify how I came up with the numbers.
That's
And I didn't
fine.
want to leave any numbers off,
That's fine.
so that you saw how I addressed them, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
So the next line you'll see is the FY '27 anticipated revenue. I kept those numbers the same estimates that we had last year for this year. I didn't want to go higher, certainly, not knowing what our actuals were this year. So those are the numbers you're going to see as your working balances
Right now.
further down for this year. The next line is the state revenue. Now, the information we got was that the state, based on 2025, was giving us $348,687. I'm not clear which bucket that goes into. For now, I have put it into the certified balances, but that's a clarification that I would want before we vote, just to know where it comes from, where it should land. So, I give you that caveat.
If I remember correctly, it's always broken down into the four categories.
It could be. I
10% on each.
don't.
That's what she did.
Okay,
It has to
all right,
be.
okay.
That's what
she
I got-
did.
I don't want to confuse.
No, which I did, so you can
All
see
right.
that's where but I don't know whether it goes on the left-hand four columns or the right-hand four columns is my point.
I
Or
got
whether
you.
it belongs in the missing 2026 category. I don't know exactly where it belongs, so that's a question that should be an easy question for finance to answer for us, whether that number has already been received and whether it's expendable. The next two lines are the land grant, which I had spoken with Kathy, and she had indicated that, we did get the land grant money back, and that did come in before June.
So the specific.
So that should be available in open space,
Right.
we would expect. And then we had done a rescission before June for the remainder of the Hinckley's Pond money from 2018,
2018, yeah.
So that's 70,700 I added back into the FY 2025 certified, fake certified, but what should be certified at some point. So that's where these numbers, initial numbers came from. So all that being said, is if you look in the left-hand column, I've explained, hopefully better than I just did, how I came up with these numbers for you to consider. And then I would just say, looking at this across the board, if there aren't any surprises with the certified balances and they come out, it does look like we could reasonably fund everything without tapping into FY 2027 too much. So if the state revenue goes into the certified balances, it looks like we only need to spend about, $114,000 out of undesignated
It is.
for FY 27
Right.
to be able to fund everything. If that 348 belongs elsewhere, then it would shift that 348,000 into anticipated revenue if we wanted to spend. And then it's a discussion for the board to consider whether you still wanted to fund everything, if there was something you didn't want to fund, and where you would make your cuts. So, I throw this out there, it's nothing more than a educated guesstimate. I'm hopeful that we have real numbers before our next meeting so that we can actually go through this effort again and have a better sense of where we stand. But I do think the numbers are conservative enough that I don't think we overspent any of the buckets, so that we should be able to reasonably do this without spending too much.
Okay,
Anybody have
I
questions on
just
the
have
numbers?
one question,
Yep,
and it's in the rescissions.
yep.
Did we submit 77? We voted that
We voted it in June,
in
but
June.
it hasn't been recorded yet, but because it was done before July 1, it counts, so we know it's there.
Okay, end the
And
conversation.
it came out of undesignated, not open space, I double-checked.
Okay, thank you. Mary, thank you.
You're
Kathy?
welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so I think that the important numbers for everybody is the line that says working balances.
Right,
So
Correct.
for FY 2025, that we conservatively say, we have $400,000 in the bucket. And for historic, we have $710,000 in the bucket. And for community housing, we have 0 in the bucket. And for undesignated, which includes recreation and everything else that, we want to put in there, we have $1,344,000. So those are our numbers, basically. Our requests this year total about 2.6 million,
2.6?
right, Mary?
yes,
I thought it was 2.3.
2.3?
2.8, if you look at the numbers.
Really?
Remember, there was one application that was withdrawn from Pembroke.
Right, are you
Mhm.
including that in the request that you gave us?
No, I wasn't, but I'm just,
I came
Can
up
add
with
them all up.
2.3,
okay.
so, but, what do you, I mean, you have,
Oh, no, that's fine, John.
fine,
That's-
but
I
is
mean,
it right?
Well,
Which one is right? I don't, I mean, I just put the numbers in a spreadsheet and added up the columns.
Okay,
so-
let's just say this, that the requested funds are more than we have in those 4 buckets right now,
But, oh, yeah, okay. So,
but not by much.
Good.
just a question for Mary, is there a reason other than convenience that you completely drained the undesignated?
Yes. So the reason being is that what the auditor said to us at one of our meetings last year was that we, rather than spending anticipated revenue, we should try and spend certified balances first.
Her words were actuals.
Right, so that's why I went to that balance first. And then staying away from the FY '26 funds, that means '26 has been clean. They'll be able to know when they can certify '26, which obviously we're still in that year. We know that we should at least get that third line back in each of those accounts as a minimum amount.
So, given that you want to stay away, you want to spend only the 2025 certified, rather, wouldn't you first drain the designated balances first,
So I did.
and then the undesignated, to leave some flexibility, because the undesignated is much more flexible in carrying over to next year, even if it's only $100,000 or whatever it is. It's more, it would be more than that, because there's over 200,000 left here in historic and open space.
Yeah, but we can't use it unless we have a project that fits it. We don't.
No, we have,
No, I know, the request for open space this year is 225,000.
is that, so that's the reason. And
Yeah.
it's all, yeah, okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Right, and you're right, the requests are 2,350,000, because we need the 50,000 of administrative expenses.
So I have an error in that calculation there somewhere. I'll find it.
Yeah, okay. So
Okay.
do you understand that?
I do now,
Okay.
thank you. I
Okay.
wasn't-
Admin funds?
Yeah, we got that in there.
So I pulled admin out of undesignated anticipated revenue. That's
Right.
really the one expenditure for
Right.
FY
Got it.
It's right there.
'27, with then whatever the overages is. And my reasoning for that is that we know it disappears if we don't spend it, so it's just gonna go back into that bucket.
Clarify that, please,
So,
because that sounds kind of,
our last finance director indicated to us that our votes for administrative funds were only available to us during that one next fiscal year. And that at the end of the fiscal year, like all other accounts, that admin account would empty and any unexpended funds would be returned to the undesignated fund.
Right.
So that 50, if we don't spend it, say we spend 25 of it, will go back into undesignated when they do the certified balances.
thank you. Any,
The only other caveat I want to make is that last year, as you all remember, we did a pretty big true-up for prior fiscal years. So I only want to point out that did not include FY '25, because we were still in FY '25, and they hadn't finished FY
no
'24
actions,
yet.
right.
So we likely, when we get certified balances, should also get a number to tell us whether we put in sufficient monies in each of those 2 years, or whether we underfunded them again and we have to provide a little more money into those 2 buckets. So we probably have at least one more year of true-ups coming, and then hopefully by this time next year, we'll be in a good place and we'll be able to just spend certified balances, leave anticipated balances alone, and go back to the old the old way of doing it.
Right. We thought that this was gonna be like the year where the buckets were all flush because of the true-ups. But because it hasn't been certified yet, it's probably gonna be next year that they are. So next year, the buckets will be flush and undesignated will be on the lesser side.
And I say that only because when we voted the true-ups, we voted them out of anticipated revenue so that we were leaving certified balances alone. So that's why that 2026 is just kind of hanging in limbo until the end of this fiscal year, when they can decide what our actuals were in 2026, decide whether the 270 was enough or whether we needed to add more to the 270. So the potential is that that 625.81 actually becomes more, is all.
Okay. I know it's confusing. Board members, ask your questions.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I have questions and notes that are in the left-hand column that is the reason you have page 2 and page 3. Could I suggest that you read those comments and see if they make sense to you? And if they don't make sense to you, ask me a question, and I'm happy to try and clarify it.
So that's to the board.
Yes.
The last one is the most important. The last one,
That's supposed to be 114, not 144.
114,
Yeah.
even better.
It's 50 and 60.
Where did you go today?
Those are the two debits in FY '27 undesignated, which is 50 and 64,000.
And that 64 for the irrigation system was their, like, contingency, like, they put a very significant contingency there, right?
They did.
Right, okay.
And again, that's all on the assumption that the state revenue is in the right, is in the correct place.
And again, in 3 weeks, this could all change.
Correct.
So you just
I'm
have to be
hoping it
aware.
does.
I put on the agenda tonight, discussion and vote of the articles. We're not gonna vote. We're gonna discuss the articles. I thought we'd have some finality to this. And I don't wanna get into any other details of it, but that didn't happen. So Mary and Kathy spent a lot of time working on this, and I appreciate,
Well,
No,
you asked
I
me-
just answered a couple questions,
Well,
that's
it
all I
does-
did.
Yeah, you asked me to come up with the numbers,
yeah,
and
I,
Kathy was kind enough to answer a lot of my crazy questions that I didn't know, so. I thank you for the assist, Kathy.
Yep.
so essentially the situation's fluid.
But I think it gives you
It's a
kind of a
good idea,
baseline to
yep.
look at.
I'm sorry, to the board. All right,
My simple question is at some point, do we get closer to being certified, or does it just keep getting further away? It seems like we made a leap by having the audit, and then we were good, but are we getting better?
Can
Or are we getting,
Can I answer that?
yeah, please
are
do.
you sure you don't want me to answer that?
No, I don't think I do. We always got certified balances, and it's just been with the turnover in the office and the
Okay.
turnover in staff.
As long as we have someone, to blame, we're fine.
Well, the timing on certifying the free cash and closing the books has been later and later in the last couple of years.
Right,
So
well,
that's why we've had to kind of go this route.
Right, we have to,
So I think we all hoped
That was understandable, yeah.
would be fixed by now, but
yeah.
we have another new finance director that just started, and hopefully she's experienced, and hopefully she'll be able to get.
As long as in another
She's
couple.
fluent in the language,
Yeah.
it's just gonna take a while for her.
Okay, that's good. As long as in another couple of years, we have to have another audit to bring us,
Oh, God.
it just kind of, okay, I'm satisfied, thank you.
The final, in the final analysis, it's been said time and time again from the chair to the appropriate authorities. This board is not the finance director of the town of Harwich.
Oh,
and we're acting as we are. So, anyway, go ahead.
We're
you-
trying to be respectful of the funds and not overexpend them,
yeah, okay.
I think is a better way to phrase it. If I could.
It's just, never mind. John,
I already asked my questions.
okay. Kathy,
I'm good, I understand it.
Mary?
I wrote it, so I'm good.
You wrote it up.
Emily?
I think I'm good for now, thank
Marcy?
you.
I think I'm good. I'm gonna look at last year's, but thank you, Mary, for doing
Yeah,
this.
thank
That's
you.
a good
Okay.
visual.
We will see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so, discussion and possible vote, as I put it before, of the 2025-26 presentation, project applications. The first one would be Robbins Pond Woodland Lands project for $225,000. We're not gonna have a straw vote. And discuss what you need to discuss. I would prefer that we not lean into how we feel about the particular application as far as a yay or a nay. But that's up to you, the board, to decide. Okay, go ahead.
Can I just ask a question? Was there anything outstanding, any questions outstanding on that? Because I don't recall.
There may be now. Not that I know of,
Okay,
not that I'm aware of.
okay.
So,
Can I just make a simple suggestion, since
Sure.
we have people in the audience that are here for a reason, and I look at the list and they're at the end of the list, could you put them forward, or is it, we have to stay in our,
I'm a mean-spirited son of a gun.
thank you?
No, we can put them forward, absolutely.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, so
Let's go
we'll
to the
hold
back.
discussion on that.
We go to the back and come forward.
Yeah, I just lost it.
You had paper, you wouldn't have that problem.
Okay,
So it's HP one.
HP1, exterior renovation of the historic West Harwich Baptist Church project. The request is $667,500. So I'll open that up to the board. John, we'll start with you.
Well, I asked my questions when the presentation was made, and I have nothing further, so thank you.
Mary?
So my only question, I guess, or comment, to John, if I may, through you, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely.
So typically historic,
No, you can, wherever you're comfortable.
well, he's gonna answer, so he's. gonna
Okay.
Yeah,
get the
come up to,
All right,
It's safer.
got it.
And I think it's an easy question, John. Typically in historic, we ask that if you're using AZEK or any of those materials, that it gets painted and it gets puttied, rather than using the little plastic screw caps. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that, as far as it comes to your exterior painting projects and that kind of stuff. So, other than that, I think, my only other question was whether you'd made any progress on the bell.
Oh, interesting. John Carey, West Harwich Baptist Church. We can certainly fill and paint the AZEK and any other wishes you'd like. And then the
You will have
bell,
to come to historic anyway, because it would be considered demolition.
yep.
So you'd be before us on a notice of intent anyway.
As long as Bob doesn't ask for brick facade, we should be okay. With regard to the bell, we actually had some developments last night. I spoke to the pastor again, insisting on the importance of it. And a gentleman, who I won't name at this point, has the bell in Dennis. And he is working through negotiations. We've spent every dollar we have so far, but we're hoping he'll donate it back.
Okay.
But we're not there yet.
Good luck with that.
It's hugely important, and so it's been bothering us for quite some time.
Yeah.
But we're gonna make sure we get it back.
Okay. My only other question is, I know there was some talk about changing the application to the proposed nonprofit. I guess my concern with that is who's gonna hold the real estate? Because whoever's holding the real estate has to give the preservation restriction and should be the one receiving the money.
So, understood. I talked to my accountant.
Yeah.
And the property's held in LLC for liability.
Yeah.
It's managed by myself. My wife and I had to move our personal money around to be able to buy this. We had to sell a piece of land that we're holding in Hyannis to make all this stuff happen, and we had to guarantee all the loans for this property. So for that reason, the nonprofit can't own the structure. The nonprofit doesn't have any funds. We started the nonprofit to receive the funds, to make it nice and crystal clear to the IRS that the fund should not be hit with an income. Because if I take the funds ourselves, it'd be income for Piper and I, and half the funds would most likely go to the IRS. And as we discussed with you guys, whatever the town is willing to support of the project, every dollar goes to the outside of that building and the structural parts of the building. So we want to preserve as much of that as possible. So the best route, according to my accountant, is the nonprofit. Nonprofit will be a tenant of the property, and the nonprofit's mission is preservation of important historic assets in Harwich. So once this project's done, this nonprofit can continue and do other important projects for the town if we see fit.
So my only concern from that, with that, from a legal perspective, is the preservation restriction has to come from the property. It has to be a restriction on the property. So I think we're just gonna have to deal with that with the town's attorneys to make sure that, that it's buttoned up legally so that the preservation restriction remains and runs with the property. So it's going to have to,
Are you
because
talking-
that's backing up those funds.
Is this above and beyond the grant agreements?
No, I think it's part
Talking
of
about something.
part of
with-
the
I think
grant
it's part, I
agreement.
think it's gonna have to be part of the grant agreement, because he's also gonna have to do a preservation restriction for these funds. So this isn't a town-owned building, so the
Right.
town has to hold the preservation restriction on the property, so that, to protect the facade or however it's gonna be drafted. So that preservation restriction has to go through Mass Historic, then has to go through the select board, it has to go through the HDHC for approvals. So that preservation restriction is what's kind of securing the tax dollars that are going to the nonprofit to benefit that particular property. Right, that preservation restriction is what should be the end result of that.
All right, so is that 501c3 in place now?
To have a 501c3 that's going to receive more than $50,000, it takes about 6 months. It's being processed.
How long into that process are you?
About a month. So I expect to have it in April or so. And by the way, I've gone under contract with Protect Our Past, who's an established nonprofit, and I actually have a meeting with them next week. And they are going to be my, the correct word is beneficiary, custodian. So they are an established nonprofit who can receive funds and then transfer them from an IRS standpoint until I'm established. So even if the funds weren't finalized, if the nonprofit wasn't finalized yet, they can still legally be the custodial of the funds. So it's all set up by lawyers and accountants. So we're prepared for that. It's a common occurrence because the nonprofit takes so long. And to answer your first question, we are only as good as our word here in Harwich, and whatever the town requests, we will, whatever you guys want to do.
I just think I think the holder of the real estate will probably have to
Yeah, that makes sense.
be a co-signer on something.
Whatever you guys need, however you want to do it. Our goal is to preserve the building. Our
Yeah,
goal
no,
is
I
not
get
to
that.
renovate the building and walk away.
I get that, I think it was something that I hadn't thought of when you had originally talked about the nonprofit,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to kind of raise the issue so that we can start the conversation and get it buttoned up elsewhere. If that
All
makes
set,
sense.
Mary?
All set for me, thank you.
Kathy?
Yeah, I mean, my whole thought process revolves around the nonprofit, and with it being in its fledgling stages, it really can't be the sole sort of applicant, I don't think. I think that you have to be a co-applicant. I mean, you can have the nonprofit, but you've got to have it yourself, because, I mean, I don't feel comfortable advising the town voters to, you know, support 600 and something thousand dollars in funds to go to a nonprofit that has no background, no precedent, no funding to speak of or anything. So, I don't know if this relationship with Protect Our Past needs to be formalized on the agreement, but, you know, our application, like, right now, it has your name, and it was gonna be changed to the nonprofit, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I guess I'm just curious as to what it's gonna be when we bring it to town meeting.
I think town council has to answer that
Okay.
question for us. I mean, I understand the tax issue that it have if it
Yeah.
doesn't go to the nonprofit. It's similar to, it sounds like a similar situation to like when, who's the parent of, HCT that sometimes has to hold property.
Oh,
or-
compact.
Right,
Compact.
so I think it's just, I think that nonprofit's gonna do something similar, is my guess.
Okay, it's just that we, on our application, we have it tied up with the project manager, and, you know, who signs on the bottom is responsible for the administration of the project.
Can the applicant be myself and the nonprofit? Is that possible?
I don't see why not. I think it would give it more strength, to tell you the truth, because I'm a little leery
I'd
of
probably
it.
rather that too,
You
because I
know.
agree.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do what's best for the town and the building, and that's what I was advised. But, you know, I'm very confident in my own name, so if you want to do it that way, and then if we get the nonprofit thing figured out and everyone's confident in it, we can go that route. And if the funds need to go myself, it is what it is, but.
Well,
what's
I don't want to,
important is-
you know, shortchange you on the tax end of things. I mean, that's something that you're gonna have to work out. But I do think in terms of the legal end of it, we need to know who's gonna be responsible for the project.
Before
Again, I
you
think
say
it-
any more in that capacity, I'd talk to my tax attorney first, quite frankly.
Because I think it's in process already, so he could have his IRS letter by, we're not gonna vote until May.
It's 2 to 6 months is what they tell you, but I'm
Right,
trying
and
to,
sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's less.
yeah.
They're not fully operating right at the moment, so.
The warrant, but this process, our
Right.
deliberations, our vote, then it goes before finance, it goes before Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
Then it's gonna be drafted into a warrant article.
Correct.
You know, are we gonna know the answers to those questions by the time it comes to town meeting?
Just so you're aware, there's gonna be a draft warrant article already, and I think it's pretty much drafted. But again, it's a draft, so at least that's what I was told today.
I would feel most comfortable if the applicant could be John Kerry and the Friends of Harwich.
How does that, excuse, may I ask a question? How does that work though? Like, where does the money go? If you're a joint applicant, is there like a role that he could play where it's like not
That's why I said
equal?
talk to your tax attorney
Yeah,
first.
or like on our side, like if there's a dual applicant, like how does the money get dispersed? Where does it go? Like, and of course you'd want to protect yourself from a tax perspective, but like, is there
Once that
a
money comes
secondary
in, whether
role
it's
that
granted or
he
not,
could
it's in.
play that's like a guarantor of
I
some
think
sort?
that the grant agreement has to spell this out completely.
Yeah.
I think so too, and that's what I'm saying. There are questions that are above our pay grade that, and frankly, with John's attorney to figure out where it would go. I mean, maybe he's just a manager of the nonprofit and acts as the contact, and the money goes to the nonprofit, but, and he has a role in the nonprofit to expend the funds. But from my perspective, the bigger protection is the preservation restriction.
So wait
Right.
a minute, so are you saying he could be the agent?
He might be, yeah, he might be, that might be how it's set up now anyway. I don't know, and it's not in my, you know,
Understood.
it's still getting formed and finalized. I'm assuming if you've started it, I assume you're
Yeah,
already
I-
on the process,
I'm
you're
the-
just going through the 1024 process to get there.
Yes, yep,
Yeah.
I'm the agent and the president, I think, of the
Yeah,
nonprofit.
so-
And there's
so
multiple members, not just me.
Understood.
So town council might be comfortable with, you know, with what they say. I just think, we need to raise it to them sooner rather than later as a part of them going over the article.
Yeah, and I think that the historic preservation restriction is really important, and the timing of it is gonna be such that it probably is not gonna go through Mass Historic and everything else by the time we're gonna be voting.
No, I think it's
So
just
we
a
have to-
commitment, I think it's just a commitment that it'll happen.
But we have to feel comfortable with that. We've got to make sure we can present that to the town meeting voters, adequately. Because that's really important. I mean, I got an email from concerned citizen, who is West Harwich resident, who's very much in favor of saving the building, but they were concerned that, the historic preservation restriction was gonna be specific enough that, things like, if it ended up being sold for whatever reason, and somebody didn't want to couldn't touch the outside, but could they remove the stained glass windows if they wanted to convert the inside to affordable housing, or some kind of housing? So I think it just needs to be specific. And I'm assuming that Mass Historic is gonna be involved in that part of it, but I don't know, and I need to feel comfortable about that.
I think they are, and I haven't been involved in the drafting of one in the 9 years. I've been
So I
historic,
guess
so.
what I'm saying is that
It's not good.
if we choose to support this project in whatever fashion, I think we need to throw a few caveats onto it. At least it's not maybe legally binding, but
No, I
at
think
least
the
that.
caveat is that along with the funds are to be used for the outside and to pay for the preservation restriction. I mean, I think that's ultimately how it gets drafted. But that's
And you're gonna
again
have to
for
be careful
council.
with that,
That's again, council has to give us advice on that.
as we talked before.
So,
What the difference between the exterior and the interior.
yes,
is
sir.
what I'm saying.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I understand. The preservation restriction would, my goal would make it as tight as possible where you couldn't change a light bulb without whoever holds the preservation restrictions approval, which I would hope would be historic. The goal is the
Normally how it
entire thing is bundled up. Is that,
It's normally how it is, but, I throw the caveat that there was one that was just completed from 2017, so,
yeah.
so it happens, that sometimes it takes a while.
We're doing all this just for the preservation of the building. We have plenty of projects going on in town, but it's important to save this specific building, so I want the thing bundled up. You can't touch the glass, you can't touch the doors, you can't change anything.
But
I haven't done it before, but my expectation is that is possible through historic
I
preservation.
would assume that the stricter the restriction, the less value this has to a prospective buyer, because it's so restricted, they might not want to deal with it. So that doesn't work in your favor necessarily.
It might be the exact opposite, Kathy,
Okay.
because it might be that it's a building with a preservation restriction and they want to see it that way, so. you
If
never-
someone with that mindset.
Correct.
Right. Right.
Just saying.
The glass is half full, right, okay.
Half full
So-
versus half empty.
Okay, and again, back to my original questions, first time we talked was, if funding's not received, what happens? I know you said that, you would, work on this if you had partial funding, so, how are you gonna work that out? Like,
If we don't get funding, the exterior would obviously stay the same, and then we'd have to find an interior use for it, kind of in the condition it is. So I haven't crossed that road yet, because I'm hoping Plan A is a good plan.
okay,
You're putting all your eggs in one basket.
We're putting a lot, but we feel confident, and we feel it's important, and we think it's a mission that the town has asked for multiple times, and we're giving the town a solution. And if they choose, to go a different way, we'll understand, and we'll figure something out. I think everyone hopes we don't get there. But at the end of the day, we put $500,000 into this ourselves, and, we're already paying property taxes, which they haven't paid in 180 years. So we won't be able to hold our breath forever. So we're hoping this year is a year the town decides to preserve a building. And if they don't, that's fine.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you are hopeful that this round of funding gets you through the exterior, which get you to the point where you can get some tax credits and be able to fund the remaining work that you need to do, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're structured and we're very confident in our pricing.
Yeah.
That this gets us combined with what we've put into it so far, which is already over $100,000 on the inside. That gives us ability to leverage those combined funds for historic tax credits and then also a state grant, which we've already received for the school. And this is much more significant to the state of Massachusetts than the school was. So unfortunately, this is the springboard for the rest of the project.
You've been the route before, but just,
Yeah, and we have all the connections and we have the interest. So this is an important one for all of West Harwich. I mean, this is the crown jewel of West Harwich. So there's a lot riding on this, unfortunately.
Okay, Kathy.
I'm all set.
Marcy?
I think I'm good. I did have a question. This is when you had first mentioned when we did the tour. So there's a congregation that's looking to go, once everything's set up, to go back into the church. Are they, so they must be like at a nonprofit, so that would, nonprofit would be coming in to nonprofit?
Yes, the First Baptist Church of West Harwich has been there since 1828, and they have a 10-year lease for $1 a year to move back into the church and rebuild the congregation once renovations are complete. So yeah, that's the plan. They are operating out of the Evangelical Baptist Church in Yarmouth right now. So there's a lot of people in West Harwich and all of Harwich. Actually, we went to the Brewster Baptist Church the week before Christmas, and we probably had 30 people come up to us and ask about the project and say that they left West Harwich to go to this one because of the condition of the church and obviously the ceiling falling. So I think it'll be very interesting for West Harwich to bring their Baptist following back. We actually had, the Brewster Baptist Church actually asked about moving, opening because part of their mission is to spread their mission. Their mission is to spread their gospel or whatever it is.
The
And-
word.
The word, thank you. Let me write that one down, the word. And they asked about partnering with us. And so we said, unfortunately, we need to create a cash flowing business that can pay the cost of operating the building moving forward. But we said we'd certainly be interested in doing any type of partnership that would bring life back to West Harwich. So I don't think we're exclusive to having one church, and maybe they work together and build it that way. But I told them we have to get the building put back together first, so it's safe and beautiful, and then the interior will find its way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All set,
Questions?
Marcy.
All set, thanks.
John?
Yeah, I just had a follow-up question. To the previous conversation, you said you're the president. Does that imply that you have a board, you're a fully constituted Massachusetts, a chartered Massachusetts organization? You have a board with officers, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer?
We do.
Okay. And is that the board, or is there more to the board than those four?
That's the board so far.
I see.
We have to see if there's any reason to have this nonprofit, right? So we got to see if we can get the main funding source, and if this project's gonna be moved forward. If the funding source doesn't go through, then we have to kind of maybe start over.
But it's the board that's responsible for,
These funds, yes.
You're saying you're responsible, you're taking responsibility, but technically, it's the board who is responsible for making sure that things go properly, and presumably, if you're doing a grant agreement, it's the board that's signing on to the grant agreement,
Right.
right?
the board takes a vote to authorize either the president to sign on their behalf or whatever.
The agent, yeah.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
All set.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't have a question until everyone else had a question. And I'm hung up on, that's a bad word, on the historic restriction. And I'm just kind of get this in my mind. So Mary's, I'm probably addressing it to Mary and John too. So this hasn't been crafted yet, right? Total? No, okay.
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be until
Until what?
after the fact. There would be a preservation restriction that would get put on, and it would have to be, you have to figure out what it's going to do, if it's a preservation restriction for the exterior facade of the building,
Right.
council would have to advise us on what that
Okay, so you,
preservation restriction needs to look like.
okay,
And
so,
who should be parties to it.
so who writes that up and who crafts that and you're,
Certainly not us.
okay. So you gotta go to council or something like that and hire that out and someone
That would
that
all be part of it.
be part of it. Okay, so is that in the queue yet, or is that you just talking
Be
about
in
it?
a queue until I think we would vote it, so I think
Oh,
it's
so-
part of,
It's
So,
gonna happen here first.
so it's gonna happen here,
And
I think part of reviewing when council reviews the articles, I think it's a valid question to ask them, what
But-
should the preservation restriction look like, and
we're
what
gonna
kind
know
of a
what,
grant
it-
agreement do we need?
are we gonna know what's in it before, it's like, oh, just sign it and we'll read it later on? Or are we gonna be part of the,
doubt it
we're not gonna
very
be part of the
much.
process, that's for sure, but,
I doubt it very much, because the preservation restriction has to get approved by Mass Historic, so council's gonna have to run with that at some point.
okay, because I just wonder how restrictive they could be, or, you know.
and again, the grant agreement, it's not ours.
Okay,
It's Board of Select.
okay, I understand, but it starts here, as you would say,
Yeah.
okay,
The recommendation starts here.
okay, okay.
Kathy looks like she has a question.
Well, no, I was just gonna
Thank
say, so if the grant agreement's not gonna be written up until after we vote, or
Yeah,
at least started, not the grant agreement, but the warrant article with the restriction information, and we're not gonna have any, are we gonna have any, do we get to have any input into what should be in this historic restriction, or is that sort of out of,
That's
not our
beyond
job?
That's beyond our,
So what you're saying is we're being asked to recommend this amount of money without knowing if we're protecting this investment.
So
Yes.
no, I think we're.
no, it's essentially, she's talking about a leap of faith.
So,
The answer is yes.
What
whole
happened
board
to
is-
the last leap of
Yeah,
faith we
I
had?
understand
The whole
that.
board
That's
is
why I brought
jumping.
that up.
but see, I disagree with you on principle on that, because I think we should be able to say that the article is going to recommend the expenditure of X amount of dollars, and in return, it's to fix the exterior of the property and to pay for a preservation restriction that will protect, it's probably gonna say something to the effect of the exterior facade of the building in its current footprint, or some such thing like that. But it needs to be a document that's recordable at the Registry of Deeds, it needs to go through Mass Historic, that they approve it, it needs to go
Right.
through.
But
Board
do
of
we,
Selectmen.
but I'm asking if we get to at least shape that. We get to say to the legal counsel, who have not been involved in this discussion,
So I
that not
think
only
it's-
does it include the exterior and its building footprint, but it includes the steeple and the stained glass windows
think
and the
that's part
front
of our-
doors.
I
Well,
think that's probably part of our vote that has to go be a part of the article. When we're drafting the article, I think that's what the article ends up having to say.
and then we have to make sure that it's not changed by legal before it goes to print, because that has happened
We know what we
before.
vote.
We have no control over that.
Okay,
Kathy.
well, I have a problem. I'm just saying, I find it
understand.
difficult
I-
to recommend to the taxpayers that they support $650,000 of taxpayer money without some guarantees.
The only thing we can do is if the article doesn't come across the way we expect it and the way we voted it, then we can always vote to withdraw our support of it, and then the money doesn't get spent, which we don't want to see happen.
No.
If we get to the point where we're voting to support something because we think it's a good project, and it's going to provide a benefit, then, there's a lot of pre-town meeting work that has to happen. Just like he's got a lot of nonprofit work that has to get done, there's a lot of pre-town meeting work that I think has to get done to get there.
Could I make an offer that you guys can write the preservation restriction, or your attorneys can? I mean,
May I ask a question?
We
Who's
can
best versed to
supersede.
do that?
It's
Is
gotta
it
be-
historic, like you'd be, I'm not an expert in that, like, I don't know
It's
what we
town
can, if we
council.
can't include stained glass, or we can't include, like.
It's town council with Mass Historic, because
Okay,
Mass
so they
Historic ultimately,
partner.
it can't get passed without Mass Historic approving it.
Okay,
So like, Mass Historic has to give the historic preservation restriction its blessing. Because presumably that's gonna be part of they look at when it comes to your comes to historic tax credits, I would think. It's my best
Oh,
guess.
absolutely, yeah.
So
For
again, I
federal and
haven't been
state.
involved in the nitty-gritty with him, but I would expect that preservation restriction is gonna be essential to him getting the tax credits.
And
That are gonna be essential to him funding the
and probably
remaining.
the more stringent, the better, potentially.
Don't know, it's
More-
gonna depend on what they see, but John's worked with them before with the church, with the
Schools.
school. So presumably, if they wanna see this preserved, they'll have their own ideas of
Work
what
with
needs to get,
caution.
right.
Got it.
And they've preserved thousands of buildings in Massachusetts
Yeah.
before. It's a buttoned up, this
Yeah,
isn't the
it's not-
first one.
It's not
Yeah,
it's
this-
not reinventing
I wasn't
the wheel.
suggesting that, I just
No,
didn't know
it's just not
exactly like
reinventing the
what
wheel.
that relationship was and how they
Yeah.
crafted it, so. helpful.
And Kathy, you have my word that the town or whoever wants can write this thing, but I'm gonna be as tight as anybody in the town, because I care probably more than anyone about this church. You know, the goal is to restore
No, and
it.
I understand that, and I respect that. I'm trying to anticipate, what's gonna be talked about on town meeting floor.
This is a great exercise for you to understand.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Because when it comes to, we make the recommendation. When it comes to the actual money being forked over, that's town meeting's decision.
Understood.
So everything you hear here today, other people are gonna hear. You have the discussion, you fill in the blanks, then you move forward. All right,
I just want to say to John, I says, this is not an exercise to rake him over the coals. I think it's an
No, it's
exercise.
not.
No, it's an exercise to get everything on the table, so like you say, we can defend it legitimately, and he can walk out of here knowing as much as we know, or vice versa, or whatever it is. So, I think that's it.
Understood,
Appreciate
and
you
I appreciate it.
Being patient with us.
I'd rather hear it today than on town meeting floor. You're right about that.
anybody, any other board member?
Just one question.
Did I miss?
No, you missed me. Well, yeah, you did, but I did have a question. Kathy brought up partial funding. Is there a scenario that this could move forward, the project, and be complete if it wasn't fully funded at the 667.5?
Yes, the quality would be different. It'd be a lower quality, and, that number was to get us a building we'd all be proud of. So a lower number would maybe mean sanding down the old trim, or keeping the aluminum siding and doing something different. That number is to give you guys a good exterior product for 50 or 100, whatever the years are. But we are in any position to work with you guys. Whatever the town wants to invest in the project, we'd be appreciative of. But to preserve the building long-term and give you a historic preservation restriction, we can't restore a third of the building, and then Piper and I are sitting here with this giant building that is, an eyesore. And we have a lot of other properties in West Harwich, and we're doing everything we can to bring that place back to life. And so we don't want this big building sitting here unrestored. If it becomes to a position where, her and I are no longer, we don't end up working together, maybe there's another person that has to step in. And that's where we hoped with Davenport. We thought they were the best people to fund the restoration of the church, and it turned out not to be true. So we stepped in because we were ready and able to, and we could pull the pieces together. So,
Thank you.
All said, Marcy. Marcy,
Emily, Emmy's also.
Mary. We're in the M's.
One last comment from me, and I'm bringing this up because Brendan's in the room, and Brendan's smarter about all this stuff than I am. What you're talking about is using hardy plank, using the AZAC, which I think we're talking kind of best practices when it comes to historic renovations. That's what you'd ultimately want to see, is hardy plank, correct? If you're using something other than wood.
Correct.
Pure, thank you.
Using something other than wood, yes.
Okay.
So it'd be the smooth side of the hardy plank.
And that,
Your reveal would be a historic reveal, so it wouldn't be the full 5-inch or 4-inch. You would do different sizings.
but the hardy plank being a non-wood product that is long-term,
Correct. It's a cement board, more or less.
thank you. So, thank you for that.
It's
Just
what's
wanted
on,
to point that
it's
out.
what's on the schoolhouse.
Yeah.
And nobody can tell, and it'll last 50 years, which is, if I'm gonna
And
spend your
I
money.
just wanted to put that out there, that it's not the cheapest product you can put on that building. It's, you know,
It's durable.
but it's
durable.
durable, so.
In 50 years from now, it'll still look good,
Right.
which is, if I'm gonna spend your money, I wanna make sure that we are getting a good return on it.
So that's, I think, adding to the cost, right? But it's a reasonable, I would say probably a best product to put on a historic building, so, for long term, yeah.
Kathy. That's all right, she's got the floor.
I'm good.
Just one more question. When I took the tour, you know, with Marcy and Art, you mentioned when we were standing outside that some of the trim was, you know, just great old wood that was still good. So are you planning on replacing are you gonna take off the aluminum siding? Are you planning on replacing all the existing siding and trim outside, or just parts of it?
If we get the full funding, it replaces everything. Because what people say is the problem with, while the wood still looks good, being underneath the aluminum for all those years, it bakes out the strength of it. So you'd put paint on it and you'd be repainting it and stuff like that. We don't know the condition of the wood, but when I took off the aluminum of the schoolhouse behind it, which was built 1871, basically the same time, the wood might have looked fine, but you couldn't resalvage it. It was too deteriorated from the heating and baking of the aluminum. So that price would replace every single thing on the outside, and it would look as beautiful as the day it was built. And you would not be able to tell the difference unless you drilled a hole in it to tell it was AZAC.
Okay, so when you made the comment about this old wood is like great, it's not really great, or we don't know if it's great. Is
If we
that the thing?
Yeah, yes. We took the aluminum off and we ended up with half the funding or less funding. There's gonna be pieces underneath the eaves that are protected, and those would not be deteriorated, and I'm sure we could scab in repairs and stuff like that, and you could make it look good, but it wouldn't be a long-term fix, and it'd be something you'd be chasing forever.
Okay,
Kind of like a Brooks Academy situation.
okay. I was just trying to understand that.
Yeah,
That's all.
It's called the Dutchman.
yep.
Okay.
All set?
Yeah.
All right. Any other board member? Okay, moving on.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you all very much.
Got that one. Housing Trust, Affordable Housing Trust. All right, we're gonna jump to CH1, the Affordable Housing Trust Project for $650,000.
Good evening, Brendan Lowney, Housing Trust.
Again, you don't have to make a presentation, this is discussion
just
for
here
the
if you had
board,
questions.
unless they have questions.
And it's just, you know, Larry could not make it, he was trying to, just couldn't make it, so, but yes, I'm sure I can
Okay,
handle a
we'll
couple
open it up to
questions.
the floor. Marcy,
I don't have any questions at this time.
Art?
I really don't have any questions. I think we're good there. I did a good presentation, or Larry did, or both of you did. I know the winds are changing in town, so that might be a good thing, but I don't think that's gonna make any immediate changes. It's gonna be a long-term planning type stuff, maybe.
Now that you brought that subject up, if I may, I've got a few emails from town residents that do not realize that the CPC doesn't have an application in front of it for West Harwich, I'm sorry, for North Harwich,
For Pine Oaks.
Pine Oaks, or your project.
So if you're,
Again,
yeah,
that's your presentation,
yeah.
that's your project, that's not CPC.
So if you're receiving letters, please forward them to us, and what we're doing is we're putting them all in our agenda packet for next Wednesday. So if you have them, please, and I can put it on the packet so it can be.
If I can find the bloody things again, I will
Yeah,
forward it to
if you got, we might already have them, but if you have them, I already uploaded about 30 of them so far,
Yeah,
so.
just the one. I can easily.
Send him that one. then.
Send it
I
to
don't
me.
know
Go
the
through the-
second, but I will look.
I'm sorry, Ash,
Oh, that's okay. No.
you got the floor.
I'm
You all set?
good. Yeah, thank you.
All right, Mary.
No real questions for me, just thank you for the numbers that you gave us, the one of your last presentations.
Awesome.
It's nice to see that you're making progress, and yes, just to reiterate for people watching, we simply fund the trust, and then the trustees spend the money, so the projects are theirs to determine and how to spend the money, so we don't play that role in this, on these applications, so, good luck.
Thank you.
John?
Right.
Didn't mean to,
I do think, however, that we can't, we do not have any control over the funds, but we still are, one way or another, potentially funding projects that have, my concern is environmental impacts. Other people are concerned about other things. I'm concerned about the environmental impacts. And I think it took CPC a little while to get used to the idea that we were just letting go of the funds and had no control. And as you said, Art, you put it, the winds have changed. I mean, sentiments have changed. I'm very concerned about environmental impact of certain projects which could potentially end up being funded by CPC funds. And honestly, I'm not sure how I should proceed based on those concerns, because of the fact that we have no control once we vote. We, or voters in general, have no control. It's our choice to vote to recommend forwarding the funds to the Affordable Housing Trust, and then the taxpayers have to decide whether they're gonna agree with us. But once that's done, taxpayers don't have any say in the matter anymore, except through other approval processes. And I suspect, given I received probably the same letters you received, Dave, and I suspect, I sort of marveled at whoever sent them didn't appear to understand that we're not considering any such project. On the other hand, those people, I would expect some of those people will be getting up on town meeting floor and questioning approval of these funds on their assumption that the Affordable Housing Trust is considering supporting certain projects which do have a big impact and are raising an emotional response in town. So I'm a little concerned about all that, and I honestly don't quite know how that might affect where I go in this committee with that.
So,
before, there's just something I want to touch on. John, each one of us at this table are a representative of a group
Right.
that represents whatever it does in the town of Harwich. Our draft, or our thought process should come from that particular group that we represent. So that would eliminate any part of what we feel personally, as far as whether it's recreation, open space, conservation. We may have misgivings about what our boards may say in particular areas. But again, we're here to be their representatives. That's the first part of the equation. The second part is, again, the money that we grant the trust, it's up to we grant the money to the trust. If town meeting decides, or if the winds of change are so prevalent at town meeting that they're gonna say, we don't wanna vote for this, they won't vote for it. That'll be the end of it. But at least we're doing our job by having a discussion of whatever the applications are, and listening, I hope, to the boards that we're supposed to be here representing their points of view. that's just one individual's point of view. Mary?
Just one follow-up to it, you know, and I think part of it is education for the general public as well, as understanding how it all works. But also, the Affordable Housing Trust has to go through all the same permitting processes that every other developer would have to go through when a project's getting built. I mean, just because they decide to fund a project doesn't mean it's going to get permitted. It's still gonna have to go through planning board review, or zoning board of appeals variance, or special permit review. It's still gonna have to go through conservation, it's still gonna have to follow all of the other guidelines. So while we do play a role with our respective boards, because we have that, you have the rec mindset, the conservation mindset, the planning mindset, we still have to understand that we have nothing to do with the permitting. Like, that project is all still subject to local permitting regardless.
But just for clarity, we're talking about Penrose, not the Pine Oaks. This application is really specific
Right.
for that. But to your, if I can,
Go ahead.
thank you. So your community housing bucket, this application, well, maybe we could use Pine Oaks, that could easily have been in front of you for funding as well. We're an extension of you, and you do have control because you're giving us the money. We have to follow into the guidelines once you give us the money and follow 4455C. So yes, I agree with you, John. We're in a tough spot. We're still making that decision for Pine Oaks. But my question would be, do you have reservations about Penrose and the environmental impacts, or are you just talking bigger picture of everything we're doing?
I'm not questioning Penrose at all.
Okay.
I'm not, that wasn't really the source of the expression.
Okay.
Concern. I know some people are concerned about Penrose as well. That's not what I was talking about.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
So we have a big decision coming up, and we do look at the housing production plan, the local comprehensive plan, the ZBA decision. They have 123 conditions they put on that. And we have conservation on the mind all the time, especially when we spoke about the J1, J2, J3 property, that real estate and open space, worked with the town to get to us. So it's always on the mind. It's in one of our mission statements as well, as far as our strategic plan that we have set, that we did a couple of years back. So we have a very tough decision. So we're
Okay.
taking on that responsibility, and as the experts, in a way. Obviously, you're doling out the dollars, but this application, or both applications, could be in front of you to make that determination. So I guess we'll take the heat, and we'll figure it out for you.
I'll set you.
Yeah, for now.
All right.
Just to add to that, yeah, I'll point it right out, I'm a housing advocate. I'm not, and I believe in other things also besides housing. And then when it goes to the next step up, the monies go to the housing trust. Well, like I made a comment not too long ago, that's in their title. So, I mean, you're not gonna expect them to be doing anything but housing. So it just happens to be a particular project that they're against, or maybe all housing projects. They haven't differentiated that yet. But, so,
Would you clarify, I missed something there. You're talking about, you used the word against, you're talking about the folks
yeah,
that are,
outside this room, I mean,
that are in the land.
they're in, I call them
And what-
the villagers.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
But, and so, it's kind of human nature. I mean, there's always some of us that are against everything, and hopefully there's a few of us that are not against everything, so we kind of balance it off. And so anyways, get back to the regular ground. I mean, yeah, the trust has the next level of responsibility, but like it's been said here a couple times tonight, the ultimate responsibility goes out to the town. It's going to go to a town vote. And there you go.
And keep in mind, Penrose is unique because, 2018, the trust was formed. We've been getting money from CPC, thank you very much, along with other funding. We bought the Marceline property. We vetted it out through an RFP. Penrose, Pell was signed by the select board. So this is like the truest of friendly 40B. So now it sits in the hands of the ZBA. We had our first meeting today. And that will answer a lot of the questions, whether it's traffic, environmental, everything that, density, height, restrictions, all the waivers that they're asking for. So that's where we're at with the process right now.
Kathy?
Yeah, I just want to clarify something. So, I wasn't at the meeting that you presented in November,
Yep.
but I did watch the meeting online. And I heard something tonight that somebody made a comment and said, once we give them the money, we don't have any say in how they use it. But they specifically said that this year's money, 500,000, was specifically for the Penrose project.
Correct.
And that's gonna have to be written in the warrant article.
Absolutely.
And that's where you're gonna get the pushback, if there's gonna be pushback.
And we ultimately don't give Penrose that money until we close.
I understand that.
Meaning we sign the ground lease.
Right,
And they're off and running, they're ready to build. So even though we're going to vote on that on Monday, and if it gets approved, they're not receiving that money until,
right. So
So-
let me ask you a question, though, that I just don't, I don't understand. So Penrose is not a nonprofit, okay? Right? They're a
Correct.
for-profit company. And we're giving them the land, basically, what is it, 99-year lease or something like that?
99-year lease. At closing, they're going to give us $800,000 in rent, but
Okay.
upfront.
Okay.
So the land, we spent $800,000, we're getting $800,000 back. Then we're going to give them $500,000. Creates that friendly 40B, and it makes their application to the state that much stronger.
And that's why we're giving them the 500,000?
Correct. So our
So
total,
we're netting 300,000? Or, I'm just trying, I'm not good at this, so I'm just
yes.
trying to understand, that's
yeah,
all.
yeah, exactly.
Wait, no,
Well-
that doesn't add up.
Well,
No, he's saying we're getting $800,000 back,
right,
which was the
that's exactly
property
right.
cost.
Right, yeah.
But we gave, we
Five from
they
income, at least
paid
three.
$800,000, so
Yeah.
we're gonna get it back, so that's zero.
Right, and then we're gonna give them another 500,000 if it gets
Right.
pushed
So
through.
they're up 500,000, we're not netting.
Well, no, I didn't
300.
mean us, I meant,
Yeah, and then
the
per,
trust.
per unit, just so you can understand how the money's being spent, you have $8,333 per unit that we're giving. So that's a pretty good return. I always talk about the Yarmouth Common project, I believe that was $30,000 per unit. So to be at this number, with the big developer, I think is a very good number.
So to your point, John, so they're getting the money back, plus we're giving them more money, so
She wants our money.
they're making money on this. But anyway,
So we're essentially paying for a affordable housing buy-down, essentially, for each of those units for 99 years, right?
Correct.
okay.
It's a great deal for the town.
So,
It's for
That's all we
$8,000
can
for
say.
$8,000 a unit
It's,
to get 99.
it's amazing.
okay,
You kidding?
It
so,
doesn't have to be renewed for 99 years,
all right,
correct?
I have some questions about,
Stay on the shy list for 99 years?
The lease is 99 years. The affordability is 50 years.
Okay.
And then, but it gets complicated with the tax credits. It gets renewed every 15 years when you renegotiate with the state, and then you extend the 50 years. So the 50 years keeps on extending, because every 15 years, they're gonna need capital improvements. They're gonna go back, they're gonna refinance. So it's a whole thing. But even though it's not in perpetuity, it's 50 years, and like I said, it gets renewed every time the tax credits expire, or they go back to the state for more funding and for more.
But we're literally buying something. We're buying the buy-down to make it affordable for that length of time. That's what the 500,000.
Now, if they don't perform, then, obviously, we're not giving them the money. So whether we hold it in escrow or we just commit it to them, I think once we commit it to them, but we'll figure out how to hold those funds. So it won't be probably for another 2 years that we give that to them,
can I
roughly.
just talk about your application for
Sure.
a bit? So, the Affordable Housing Trust application, the first statement, which is a description, doesn't really say that this is going to Penrose. It's very general.
It is a
Okay, so
generous.
it's not accurate, for starters.
Okay.
Also, you have a March update in it instead of like a fall update in terms of a status report.
You're talking the financials.
Yeah, I'm talking about the application in general. The majority of it is the Penrose application and minutes. So I just think it's I think it's a little thin on what you're actually gonna do with, the funds. I mean, I understand the Penrose part, but,
So we haven't got the full update on all the financials. The new finance director took over, so we're gathering everything. We have a lot of it, but we just haven't updated that. But I gave the last one we had officially.
right.
And we're gonna
I
be
just
doing-
think the
we're gonna do that. We're
application
gonna-
was a lot of recycled information, for
Okay.
lack of a better word.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's bothersome.
Well, it's my opinion, doesn't,
Yeah. Well, the 150 goes to the rental assistance, and
I understand
and
that.
then the $500,000 is for Penrose. So,
I think that
sorry
needs
if
to
it fell a
be,
little short,
I think
but-
that needs to be clarified on the application, because it doesn't say that on the application.
is that something you'd like me to update, or?
Well, I don't know, it's up to the committee, but
So my question would be, when's your next meeting?
It is Monday, but it's on the agenda. I can't get, I won't be able to do that. But we have something,
You didn't anticipate it. Yes, you can put it on the agenda.
yeah, I could take a look at it. Because we have
I
a
was
lot, we have a
just- I
lot
would
going on
just
next
say
week. Just,
if
we
you-
have Pine Oaks and we have Penrose
If
and,
you,
I,
could,
this is I have another meeting to go to after this, so I
You
got a lot
could-
going on. I'm trying, guys.
you could
So-
pen a letter that just gives us that update. It would be my
Yeah,
suggestion.
we could definitely do that.
And when's your next meeting after this meeting if you don't feel that it was unanticipated?
We'll just have a special one to sort it out.
John?
Not to respond to what Kathy's saying again, but, I mean, this is another concern I had. I was trying to figure out where you guys were with the Pine Oaks thing. And I could not, today or yesterday when I was reviewing the proposal, there was nothing. And you list other properties you're considering, and there was no mention that I could find.
But we just got their application a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, okay.
So we never had an application in front of us, even though it's always been talked about. We didn't have a formal application in front of us until, I guess, first week, a couple of weeks ago. It's very recent. Yeah,
See, so you couldn't have had that in at the end of September when you...
I don't know, because we didn't,
I think that's what those emails that we're receiving is, it's an anticipation
yeah.
without actually having something.
There's always been anticipation that, and there was a reason why the select board didn't give us all the stabilization money. They held back, they only gave us half, so they gave us 1.5. They held back because there was some concerns in how we were gonna spend it, and that was one of the reasons.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Kathy, you also?
just a quick question, has the money from the stabilization fund been moved into your account yet?
So that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for that.
So the answer is no.
No, and we're also waiting for CPC money from last year to be moved in and tracking of some of the real estate money. So we have about 2.9 liquid with everything that we know about. So that's where we stand. I gave that little cheat sheet last time. So that's where we're at right now. And that's not including the properties, the assets.
But so you've been in 2018 to 2024 or 25 now.
You
So
haven't
far,
received that money? That's what you're saying?
As of a month ago,
sorry.
no, we'll have to,
No, the money
yeah, I
hasn't
don't want to throw anything at the bus.
no, it
just-
hasn't
just
been transferred yet.
happened.
It hasn't. The
It
last
hasn't.
munis report, I told you that it hadn't been transferred yet.
Yeah, yeah. I don't believe so, but we thought about taking that money and putting it in a high-yield interest-bearing account, so we're looking in, if we can even do that, which I don't think we can.
I thought they
So,
solved
so
that
that's why we're
problem
not, we know it's
2
there.
years ago,
Right.
Kathy.
Well-
They were supposed to move the money right in after town meeting so they could, sorry, I'm wound up.
They move it eventually.
So they could collect the interest on the
Yeah.
600 or the
Well.
million, 2, 3, there's a lot of interest there.
I know,
You're
I
talking
know.
4, I don't know, 40,
Well, the
50,
interest
60,000.
is still gathered, but they'll have to, I could see the interest dropping into the account. I can see that. So,
They're investing it right now.
correct.
Right.
We'll get it.
So, back to my question was, so 2018, okay, you received funding a number of times from affordable housing, from the Community Preservation Act funds. purchase the land, and so that's gonna be one project with this land project. And then, from what I could tell, between Bank Street and Bell's Neck,
Yep.
7 bedrooms have actually been created.
So total will be 13. So it's 3 with the school, 3 with,
3 one-bedrooms.
well, no, it's a mixture. So I believe the fire station is
Oh, okay.
2
so the-
bedrooms, there's a mixture in
Oh,
the
the
same,
the fire station is all one-bedrooms,
yeah, so that's
3
that.
bedrooms.
And then John's is a 2-bedroom, well,
And
West-
two two-bedrooms and 2 one-bedrooms, something like that.
yes,
So that's like 7 or 8 total bedrooms.
Well, it's different because with the West Harwich School, all 10 units count to the shy list.
Right,
And
but
that-
I
that's why it's
understand
important.
that, I
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
that. But when, in terms of actual brick-and-mortar housing for people,
Yes.
we're only talking like 7 bedrooms. So far.
I would still include the other ones.
Okay,
But we can
but
argue
it-
about that.
We can argue about that because
Sorry.
it adds it to the
Well,
list, but all that does is
Yeah, but these-
help with the 4DB process,
But-
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah. But
but the shy list is important for
I
the town.
understand
a
that
very
it's important,
thing, yeah.
but it's not actually adding housing, which,
Well, it incentivizes the developer to create, so by allowing them to be at 25% affordability, they can do the projects bigger, so in the West Harwich School, you get 10 full units. So it is all relevant, all does count.
okay.
I mean, the quicker we get to our 10% number, not that we want to race there, but between potentially Pine Oaks, Penrose, and the 2 projects we have, that's 315 units. We need 329 to be in safe harbor. There's other ways to be in safe harbor. Where, for example, another big project comes down the line, ZBA could say, we're not going to hear this one. And they can't appeal it. If they do, the state will be fine because we're in safe harbor. So it's important that we get there to stop big projects if we want to as a town. So that's why the number is important. I've been taking it very seriously, the number.
Yeah.
That's like my thing, but it's very important.
When did the state establish this number?
I guess it'd be 1969 to 1971 with the comprehensive permit.
Okay.
Yeah. So it starts back then.
It's not new.
It's
No,
not new, yeah.
I know, so my point is that since 1971, we've still been working on this. And I know we're in the same position as a
We're
lot of other
always
towns.
chasing it, and even the 10%, it's great to get the 10%, but that's not really a ceiling. That's really a floor, because we're always chasing it with the census. The town is growing, so we probably need 22% real affordability, and that can extend past the 100 AMI. But we need to at least get to 10. Once we get to 10, then we can reorganize as a town and say, okay, let's maybe do other programs or create another trust where we can help 110, 120, 140 AMI. And that will be, that's where we can get to.
See that in our future?
I think it's.
No, I'm just
well,
asking you.
There's been talk, and we also have talk about 40Y, seasonal communities, whether that comes to fruition, the tiny homes
Right,
initiative.
right.
So there's a lot out there that we can start dabbling and getting into, and we can get into true buy-down programs. So we have, let's say if someone makes $100,000 a year, you take that gross income, 30%, and that's with no debt, can they get a loan for $400,000? Well, great, let's say if they could, with the 5% interest rate.
Today's market.
Right, but then you have to find the house for 400, which it doesn't exist, so now it's 650. So maybe we do a $250,000 buy-down program for a family of 4 to purchase a home and own something. So there's that possibility. But we have to get to this 10%, and we're trying other things as well. We're gonna be hopefully working with the other properties we're trying to develop them. So,
Well, I appreciate your passion
yeah, thanks.
and the expertise that you bring.
No, I appreciate that. When Charlene asked me to do this, the former
Yeah.
town planner, she said to me, you should be on this, Brendan, because we do all the work, you get all the credit. And I'll tell you what,
So wrong.
Quite.
I see
not quite the way
Charlene
it's
again.
set up, was it?
I'll tell you.
Not quite the way it's
So
set
listen,
up.
we're trying, but we appreciate everything you've done and the trust and the original leap of faith and everything. So we, of course, without you, we couldn't be here, so, thank you.
Marcy,
I appreciate what you're doing, Brandon, and
Thank
what you're
you.
talking about with 100, 120%, 140%, and I hope we do see that. Because I'm in housing, and it's really hard for people to find housing even at,
Yeah.
that AMI, because Generally, it's restricted, you see 80%, that's like, so it's just nice to see, as you're saying, build up to that 10%, because we do need that, and it would be nice to see it even bigger, so.
And the Housing Committee is more focused on launching programs or really looking into seasonal communities and 40Y. So they're really diving into the see if that is it good for Harwich or not good for Harwich. So that's what they're taking on, and, you know, you can always catch up with Elizabeth and talk to her about that.
And then, sorry,
Go
just
ahead.
one other thing. This has always been brought out as the tiny homes. Is it still, or is it an issue with zoning? I mean, it's talked
That's the
about, but
40, that's the 40Y, so you have an
Okay.
acre of land, or the 40,000 square feet, and you could put 4 homes on there. So is it, so that's the 40Y. So
do you find it's being supported, or are you having support on that?
we just started diving into that. I don't have a good handle on seasonal communities or the 40Y yet. My head's gonna explode, so I can only take so much, just so you know.
That would require a zoning change.
Yes.
For us, we'd have to put in
Right.
an
Correct.
overlay district, a special district or something for it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't exist in our zoning now,
No.
Right,
whereas the ADUs
yeah,
are a matter right now.
Yeah.
so.
right.
And then we have the multifamily, which is gonna be taking off soon. You'll see more interest in that as well.
Okay.
They want us out of here.
We want it on it, who are
Emily.
you kidding?
I have no additional questions right now, but thank you.
There you go. So jump up.
So the only ask is to clarify
Mary?
the language of the ask. Is that?
I would clarify that
Yeah.
opening.
We can definitely do
To
that.
make it specific.
Yeah.
So my only comment is that I would back Brendan up, that to me, the 13 bedrooms is an important number, because we've been, to his point with chasing, when we did the first housing production plan I was here for was 2016, and we were at 22 a year we were supposed to get to,
Yeah.
and we didn't come close.
Yeah.
And now the new one, it's 30?
You talking Penrose?
No, I'm saying just on the housing production plan, how many we need
Oh,
to do
30,
per year.
33
So
per
we
year,
went from
32, 33, yeah.
22 in 2016 a year to get us to our quote-unquote 10%, to now 33 a year minimum to get us to our 10% by the end of that housing production plan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're
So-
always chasing your tail.
With what we have right now, I think the real number is 73. Not the bedroom count, but units.
Yeah.
Never mind Pine Oaks. So 73, and you do the math, and, you know, over the last 5 years, there's a little bit of progress there, but,
Yeah.
you know, still got a couple years out to get it all in, but there could be, I remember one of the select board members said we were 20 years behind when we first started this. I don't think we're 20 years behind anymore. So we're ramping it up, so, you know, with the help of everyone in town, whether it's real estate, open space, the select board, CPC, the trust, the housing committee, it's all coming together. Housing advocate, it's all getting there.
All right, that pretty much covers the 500,000. How are we gonna deal with the 150?
I don't have any questions.
John? All right,
I have no comment about it. I think that, I would trust them that they're gonna be doing the right thing. And I know, I go to all the meetings, so I know, well, I don't know as much as Brendan does, but
if you did, you'd be in his place.
I'd be sitting there and he'd be sitting here. I don't know, but, no, they got some programs that, you know, the talking programs, the type of things you talk around. Buy down is a good thing, but it's all in the timing, you know, to get the house and get the client and all this come together real quick. And when you got a real hot market, houses sell like this, and you know, so you're out in the cold all the time.
And,
But
yeah.
you can work it, you know, once you get a little plan going together, I think you can make it happen.
And-
Because they did have buy down in the past.
Well, I was gonna interrupt you, sorry. So the state they're not giving any money for home ownership right now. So, and then a lot of this, Section 8 money is even drying up, the vouchers. So, that sweet spot, the LIHTC money, the tax credit money, the 50 to 60% AMI, that's where they're giving the money. So that's why Penrose is very attractive to the state. And because it's a true friendly 40B, it's, you know, hopefully it gets approved in the first round of funding.
Okay. Marcy,
Oh, no further questions, thank you.
Emily,
No further questions either.
Mary?
I think think the town will benefit from a rental program. I know
Hmm.
it's, I think essentially replacing the one that the Housing Authority had run
Right.
prior, so hopefully with a little bit more money to be able to make it workable for people, so I think it's ultimately a good thing. It'll help real people.
Can you remind me, I know we had a discussion about the monies they had left over.
Housing Authority? Yeah, they've, you know, they've got people who are receiving funds right now, so they're holding on to what they need until
Right.
they finish that round, the couple rounds that they've promised money to.
Yeah,
So this new, the 150 now is not gonna be seed money.
No, this is a different program. This,
No,
different
yeah,
program.
that's what I'm,
yeah.
this
but-
is rental assistance. This is different from the Housing Authority.
okay.
That's old money.
But the Housing Authority, as soon as the clients that they have run through their program, it's a 3-year
Then
program,
they're gonna,
then they're gonna cut, they're not taking any more applicants. Then it's gonna roll to the trust, and so the trust is gonna be coming and looking for
Well-
the monies to keep their program going, because they're gonna be the only housing assistance program that Harwich has.
So the funds from the Housing Authority, if they have anything
Is
left,
left, will
will be
come-
rescinded to this,
to us.
to us.
Yeah, it'll roll back here like,
Right.
like the other projects do,
Okay.
right?
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, anything from any other board member? Hearing none, moving on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you, Brendan.
Good luck at your next.
That was easy. Larry slows me down. See ya.
We're gonna tell him you said that.
That's already on record.
How do we feel about the time, folks?
I say we plow through. Oh, did you just say not to?
Okay, let's plow.
I say we plow through. We only have
Let's start at the
there's only a
beginning
few
then.
more controversial ones.
Robbins Pond Woodlands Protection Project. 225,000. I'll open it up to the board. John?
Other than saying whether or not I support this, I don't really have anything to say, so.
Okay. All right.
I support this. I
No.
think, I think.
We're
it's-
not
No,
asking
no,
for
no,
support
no.
tonight.
That's what we're not gonna do.
Oh, we're not going to say that?
Yeah,
Okay.
just
No,
any
I
questions
don't have
about
any
the
questions.
project?
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I'm good the way it stands. Thank you.
Marcy,
I don't have
Sorry.
any questions.
Emily,
No
Misspoke.
questions.
Kathy,
No questions.
Mary,
No questions.
done. All right, HC1, Howard Affordable, we already did that.
Yeah.
HC2, Lowercase Housing Institute Project, $10,000.
No
Mary.
no questions.
Marcy,
No questions.
Emily,
No questions.
No,
Kathy.
no.
John?
No.
All right.
No.
Okay, the next one, CH3, Chatham Meeting House Road Project, $100,000. I'll open it up to Mary.
I don't have any questions on these two
All right,
right now.
so you want, we'll take both projects. Roadhouse project and then the 1533 Main Street project. Any questions on either one of them, Mary?
So I don't have any questions, but because they are non-Howard ones, they might be lower on my list. I'm not saying in favor or not, but they might be lower on my list.
Okay, Kathy?
I'm with Mary. I mean, I understand the reasoning for the ask from the organization. But it, you know, that is sort of and I understand the regional approach to getting all the towns to participate. I just am concerned that, you know, we're sort of lagging behind in our own development, and maybe we should keep the funding in town. It's just a thought, I don't know, so.
Okay. Emily?
I feel my initial thought is similar, that, you know, lower on my list because it's not in Harwich, but at the same time, it's an opportunity in front of us to support this type of project. So I'd be, and make it real, as opposed to waiting for things to come in front of us for our own town. So that kind of is the other side of the coin that I keep thinking
Get it.
about.
All set.
All set?
John?
I acknowledge the points that have been made. I thought about them all, but I don't have anything to add, so.
All right. Thank you, John. Marcy?
I have no questions.
Art?
The only concern I have is what I hear in the street. And on the street is, they're getting some serious pushback on these two projects in Chatham. So, but I believe in the concept. I think, you know, one hand washes the other type thing. I mean, we don't want to be the only ones saying, well, you know, we want to keep our own two little shackles. You know, it's just the way to go.
Okay, my thoughts on this are, we had an application in front of us from Orleans, Pemrose, and we supported it.
Right.
And there was pushback within the town about that. But in the overall scheme of things, it's taking pressure off a choke point. The choke point is not having housing.
Right.
So I view it a little bit differently than a lot of people. Anyway, anything from anybody else? All right, moving on. Rec Wing, Recreation Fields Irrigation Replacement Project. Marcy?
The only thing I remember you had asked in regards to that, you wanted the schematics. Did you get those emailed to you?
No, I haven't received those yet.
So that was,
I'll follow up on that, because I forgot all about it. Art?
The only reservation I think we put it to bed is whether this was maintenance or, you know, a brand-new project type thing. And I think we kind of walked it through. Am I correct? Okay. Thank you.
You're all set.
I'm done.
Emily?
No additional questions right now.
John?
My only question is, the contingency seems way outsized. It's like 60, I
Yeah.
I
It
did
was
the
a
math
huge
last
amount.
time, it's 60 or 70% or something, which seems, I mean, I'm not sure it's exactly that, but it's over 50%, and
Yeah,
that seems, I mean, I don't get it. The quote they got is from a very reputable concern in town, and so,
Well, again, we have the ability to reduce that
yeah,
contingency.
well, that's
So
my
it's-
point.
Okay. Anything else?
No?
Mary?
Nothing for me on that.
Kathy?
Nothing at this time.
Did I miss anybody? Okay, we're going at rocket speed here. Shellfit Lab project for $25,000.
Wait, the water quality
Water
equipment,
quality equipment.
Ways.
REC2.
Oh, yeah,
Two.
REC2.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Harwich National Resource Department Water Quality Equipment Replacement Project. That's for $35,793.53. That's interesting. Anyway, John?
I thought we could round it up or down. Get rid of the pennies.
36K is what I said, yes.
I just comment that I've used the equipment they have now, and it needs to be replaced.
Okay.
That's my comment.
Marcy? Thank you, John.
I agree with John, and I don't have any other questions on it.
Okay, Kathy?
Well, I had to watch this on the recording, so I took some notes when I did, and my only takeaway was that, that we make sure that we understand that this water quality equipment does not really have to do with water safety. So when you talk about water safety and public access, it's not really for water safety, it's for water quality, which is different. She specifically said that it's not for water safety. I'm just
Okay.
clarifying that. There's, for a number of water quality programs, I understand the need for new technology, the end-of-life use of the existing ones, I understand all that.
I would consider this maintenance, except for that one caveat. She said that the information that she was giving us, the technology she was using.
Right, right, and I
Way
did
up.
hear that, okay? Just saying.
What was your point? What's your point?
John,
I didn't understand the point you just made.
I
have-
initially thought of this in terms of maintenance, going out testing water quality throughout the town at the different ponds.
Yeah.
But she explained in detail that the technology that she had was way outdated,
Yeah.
and that it would be better, that's why I had a mindset change.
Okay,
And I'm not going any further before I dig my hole deeper.
okay, but I want to respond to something Kathy just said.
Okay, go ahead.
If I might, which is, yeah, I remember Stephanie responding that it wasn't about water safety in the sense that you're not worrying about somebody who might be drowning. But on the other hand, you're trying to keep track of the health of the pond, and part of consequences of deteriorating health of the pond is algae blooms, which are a water safety problem.
But she was referring to, can I respond?
Go ahead, yeah, absolutely, you've got the floor.
She was referring to Board of Health closures and stuff like that, and so there was not a direct correlation there, is what I was just saying. Okay, she talked about how management helps flag a pond, and they have a legal obligation to, do this monitoring. But it's state regulations, it's not the health of the public that drives this. That's all, was clarifying, that's it.
All set, you two folks. All right, Mary.
I appreciated the age of the equipment and that the ask is doing what it needs to do, so I have no questions.
Emily,
I feel similarly to Mary. No
Ditto.
questions, yes.
Matzi.
No questions.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, moving on. Rec 3, Shellfish Lab Updates Project for $25,107.89. There we go again. We'll go up and down, however. All right, so Kathy, you want to open this up?
Well, again, I watched this on the TV. I understand the request for the educational program materials, to expand that. That was like 1,000. The 19,000 of it is for new tanks and shipping and handling, which I understand the need for those. I'm unsure about the 5K that's required for the redoing of the floor, because to me, that is maintenance. I understand what she said about the fact that they have to put holes in for plumbing and all this stuff, and so we can't, if we don't do it, and they put in the new tanks, then they're gonna have to move everything in order to redo the floor later on. But I'm just thinking that maybe, that's not necessarily our responsibility. And right now, when she talked about when there's a storm surge and the water could possibly flood the entire thing, I mean, do we want to invest money where there's a possibility that things are not gonna, they could be damaged? I don't know. And I would have liked to know what other resources are available for them in terms of funding sources, and I wanted to know what would happen to the old tanks. Well, because disposal could be a lot more money than you think. It's a valid point.
That has to go through the procurement process or something like that, disposal of town property.
Depends on if it's still usable or if it's declared surplus or any of that stuff, so it would all depend. It could just be trashed at this point.
It just
You never
goes.
know if it's not usable. Can I ask?
Sure.
So I guess my question through you to Kathy is, did you want Jan to reach out and ask those questions of Stephanie, so that,
I can send her an email
okay.
to get those answered, but my question about maintenance is maybe for this committee. I didn't know if replacing flooring is a legitimate funding?
So I guess my thoughts would be if the floor isn't sufficient to support the weight of the new tanks,
But the way the new tanks they're much lighter
so,
than the old tanks, so.
but is the condition so bad that it's not, that it needs to be done anyway? The $5,000, I don't know, I guess
That's-
maybe it's a
That comes
question
under the
for buildings and
category use of
maintenance, to see if
disabled.
they had see if buildings and maintenance had the $5,000 to fund the flooring if we fund everything else.
I don't know,
Might
it's
be a
just a question.
Yeah,
Just a
no,
question.
I know. I wasn't really thinking of it in that sense, but I
No, it's
appreciate
good.
the question.
Want to duke it out on this, too?
Comments?
I hope the computer didn't pick that up. Anyway, Emily,
No additional questions, I was just debating the flooring thing as
Yeah.
well. To me, if it's all new materials, it's less maintenance and more something different.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the flooding component, is there insurance? So if we're investing in there, where they're able to recoup and whatnot, but that's it.
town self-insured.
No, and if they build a new building, floors don't go with it, just the tanks do.
Right, but
We won't have any tanks
that's
without
over a
floors.
period of time.
But what are
So-
you
We
getting?
So the
But what are you
issue
really
is,
getting
they
for-
get new tanks, is there a publication, is there a public safety issue with the floor as it exists today?
I mean, let's be honest, what are you getting for $5,000 on a floor? I mean.
Well, like
you
she
can't-
said,
you
they're just
can't
gonna put
redo
the,
your
they're just gonna
kitchen
put the
floor for
boards
that.
on top of the existing boards. That's what she said.
That I don't recall.
They're not
but
even,
I
they're not
believe
doing
it.
they're not lifting up the old floorboards, they're gonna
No,
go right
yeah,
over,
Be a lot more.
yeah.
Okay, it's a thought. Marcy,
I don't have any questions.
did I miss anybody? Art, I'm sorry.
I don't think he
I
can.
have no questions. But I have a lot of thoughts, but I'll leave them to myself. No, I think it's a benefit to the town, and I have no questions.
John,
Yeah, I just have a comment about where this,
Something-
where this, where this project fits, which is that it has a recreational component, because those shellfish that are grown in that lab
yes, they do.
get, they get put out into our estuaries where people go and dig them up. That's a recreational thing, so you could justify spending this money just on a recreational basis. That's not how they categorized it, how she categorized it. But it also, spreading all those shellfish out into our estuaries, they also consume nitrogen, and it's also benefiting open space in a way. And my feeling is, you can justify any of these expenses supporting that activity, and including replacing the floor or anything else, by the fact that they are contributing to recreation in the town, they're contributing to maintaining our open space in the town. So I think it's great. I don't have any problems with those details personally.
I'm amazed.
You are?
You and I are in agreement.
Happens every now and then.
There, see what happened? Okay, anybody else on this subject? Did I miss anybody?
I think we're,
I would just say if we can
Yeah.
take some of it from open space, then we may want to make that consideration when it comes to a final vote.
Yeah,
Okay.
But remember I said that there was something in the open space thing that said that if you're gonna use funds, sometimes it has to be something like that land was purchased with those funds
Yeah.
in order to support that.
So
We'd
I
have
think it's
to-
just worth double checking.
I know, we have to find out about that. That's all I'm saying. I don't know the details. I have to figure that out, to read
Okay.
it again.
Herring River didn't get purchased with open space funds, I guess, so.
I thought that related to maintenance of open space properties, that you can maintain open space properties that were purchased with
CPC.
CPA funds.
Right.
But I could be wrong, so.
I think you're probably right.
But John just said that Herring River was not purchased with CPA funds,
Herring River,
or whatever.
okay.
But did I get that right? You're gonna check?
No.
No, sorry.
Okay, moving on. HP one, the exterior reservation.
We did that already.
No, we did
We
that.
did that one.
Diagnostic assessment of Hinckley's Pond project, Rec 4, 138,000 even. Okay. I'm gonna open this one up because I'm not so sure this isn't maintenance, especially with the Hickley Pond project that the application refers to. I know there's other ponds that we're looking at, but we gave the town a significant amount of money. The town taxpayers gave the town a significant amount of money, a department within the town, to do the follow-ups on the alum treatment. So is that, I'm in a quandary here. Does that mean that the alum treatments were not successful in that particular case? And are we, if that is the case, are we throwing good money after bad again?
So I think it's to not throw good money after bad again. It's a diagnostic assessment that is more in-depth than what was done the first time when we thought the alum treatment, legitimately, I do think all the powers that be thought the alum treatment was gonna work.
Right.
And I think now they're looking at the numbers and they're saying the alum treatment didn't work as long as it should have worked, so there's gotta be something else going on. So they're looking to put money in to figure out what the real problem is. So, I mean, to me, this isn't maintenance, this is the feasibility study for what's next. Or to come up with the plan for what's next, which then might be maintenance or might not be. But Hinckley's Pond is a pretty important body of water in this town, and
Yes, it is.
and it hasn't improved in the way that it needed to with all of that money expended, and I don't think the town should ignore it in order to, I think it's gotta get fixed one way or another. And it's going to take money to do that, and, to me, it's important enough to put some funds behind it.
Okay, Kathy?
Yeah, so she mentioned in the application, Amy did, that they're currently out of compliance with the order of conditions for Hinckley's. So may I ask John what that means exactly?
So the order of conditions required 10 years of testing. And the money we funded, the town provided for 3 years of testing. And the powers that be did not pursue that any further. The person in charge of the project at the time didn't follow through on any of that. And that stuff needs to happen. This project is actually not, the funding is not
Right.
requested for that.
Right, I understand that.
The
But I-
town, however, has a responsibility to get that back into line. But unfortunately, things aren't going well in Hinckley's Pond now, so we have this, I agree with what Mary was saying. We really need to figure out what's going on there, whether it's something internal in the pond, or there's some external inputs that are going on that are causing problems.
So I guess the question is, so if funded, and then we get a diagnostic assessment, it comes up with a prognosis or something, does that fall to the Community Preservation Act funds to fund that also? Or is there other funding for these concerns? Because, I mean, I'm not sure it's the, being out of compliance is our concern. okay? And I didn't read it word for word, but I did sort of scan through the Hinckley's Pond report. And, you know, it doesn't really talk a lot about climate change or drought conditions, which are things that have been significant in the last 5 years, which could have, you know, had some kind of effect on the conditions. I'm just like wondering where this is going, I guess.
So can I ask a question through the chair to John? So presumably the order of conditions would be to see how the pond was performing over the 10 years, and the town is remiss in not having followed through on the left hand not following through on the order of conditions provided by the right hand, right? But that being said, you know pretty early in the process that it didn't work the way it should have worked, or as well as it should have worked, or there's something else going on.
It's not so early in the process, because it was this time last year,
Yeah.
or a little more than a year ago, when there was a very late season algae
Right.
bloom that
Yeah,
that
which is unheard of.
very unusual.
Right.
And I think there were some concerns starting to be expressed before that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't immediately, I mean,
Yeah.
soon after the treatment, the pond was great.
Yeah.
And at least, so I hear, I don't spend
Right.
any time on Hinckley's Pond myself, so.
Right. I mean, to Kathy's question on, you know, what other funding is there, there's always the capital budget for the town. I mean, it could be a capital project. And we fund a lot of those capital projects when it comes to CPA funds, but I think I still look at this as being a necessary step in the process of figuring it out, and I think it's a rational spend under our funds. Who knows what the project's gonna cost, what they come back with? And I mean, then I think it's another whole story. If it's a really expensive project, it might be a combination of CPA funds and capital budget funds to be able to pull it off. But I'd hate to see this one get ignored, because I think this is to try and help us not throw more bad money after not quite good money.
I threw this on the table in the way that I formed the thoughts about it. I initially looked at this as maintenance, and I didn't realize, or I was negligent in my thought process, that it was a 10-year process. I didn't realize that. I thought it was 3 years they asked funding for, and that was the end of it, would have the results. So the other side of the coin I'm arguing, I'm debating in my mind, this is good for wildlife, it's good for people that go up there and access that pond. I don't know if that's part of the aquifer.
I
Absolutely.
think it would have to be.
So,
Well,
given all that, again,
Well,
I'm a novice when it comes to this stuff.
let me just say, the algae blooms are dangerous for pets, never mind. Like, a dog going into an algae bloom, they don't survive them. You know, they can be fatal pretty quickly for even a large-sized dog. So, you know, to me, that's too big of a pond and too important of a pond in the whole herring run that, you know, to ignore.
If I may.
And that's the key, the herring.
It's, exactly, that's a very critical part of one of the largest herring runs in the state.
Right.
And algae blooms are a symptom of low oxygen.
Which is gonna kill the alewives.
Exactly.
It'll
And
kill
they're
all
not-
the fry,
Right.
it'll kill fry.
It'll kill all kinds of things. And
Right.
that happened in Skinnequit Pond like 25 or more years ago, and everything died.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the odds are that this, untreated, this will progress to that kind of extreme, but nonetheless, I think, whether we decide to fund it or not, or we decide, to recommend funding for it, the health of that pond is the responsibility of the town. So the town is gonna have to address this one way or another. And
Whether it's through us or the capital project.
If I was picking between undesignated fund projects, it would come before the irrigation for me.
before
It would
the-
come before the
It would
Before
come before the
irrigation.
irrigation. for me,
irrigation.
because it's-
Couldn't hear that.
And
That's
I
all.
think the fields have to be irrigated, so, because I think they're, the kids need to be safe and it needs to get done, but it's a problem that we funded in 2018?
2018.
2018, so it's 2026 already.
Yeah,
And-
we're
and
almost-
then-
And it's still a problem.
But I just
Well,
want to make a
Here's
point.
the whole caveat to that before, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The whole caveat to that is, we have a department head now that is very passionate about the particular thing that she put forward to us to recommend. I take some comfort in that. I tried numerous times previously to get information that I could not obtain. I think we've turned the corner there, so. Marcy, you have the floor, I'm sorry.
Thanks, that's all right. No, I'm just learning more about the algae. Thing that stuck in my mind when she was talking about the Hinkley Pond, that for 4 years, because they ran out of funding, nothing was done. So obviously that's caused it to be even more of a problem because of the 4 years that nothing was being done. So
It's amazed they hadn't come.
that's what I'm
So I think the
just
4
saying.
years was monitoring,
Well,
was my understanding.
Yeah,
It
so
sounded
it
like
was
they weren't.
monitored.
Read the
Three
reports, 2020, 2021, even 2022, the results were sort of like this, a little up, a little down, but they
Right.
were not disappointed. Okay, then it started to turn where it really had issues. They also talked a lot about it's being related to the cranberry bog inputs, which that situation has changed some in the last couple of years with HCT purchasing the land, one of the bogs for conservation, preservation, and then this whole eco restoration that just happened. And I don't know what impact that is gonna have on this kind of thing. But I guess to Mary's point, or to Dave's point, the town is gonna have to do something. Is this something that we should be funding? We, meaning the Community Preservation Act. That's all, I'm just asking. And I'll go on record as saying that I am one of 2 people who voted against the Hinckley's Pond alum treatment
I
back in
understand that.
2018.
I recall that.
Back in the day.
What,
Okay,
I'm just
Emily.
curious, why did you vote against it? Is
Because
there
there
a-
wasn't, because there was, well, the whole public access thing was a big problem then for me. And also, there was a lot of data and some controversy about whether alum treatments really worked. They worked in some ponds, but not, it wasn't a tried and true. And it was a lot of money. So if you take $650,000 back in, which about $575 was devoted to the alum treatment back in 2018, that was a lot of money. It's probably cost like $1 million right now to do the same thing.
Kathy wasn't big on
I
a
don't know.
leap of
They
faith.
didn't spend those.
I know.
I understand.
In
There were
Skinny Point.
discussions about whether it
Oh,
was
at Hinckley's,
appropriate
there
use
was
of
a
money
big rescission.
Oh, there was a rescission, right,
And
I'm
it
sorry.
was a substantial rescission. It
Wasn't
wasn't
as-
just a few
It
bucks.
wasn't, it
It
was,
was over $100,000.
yes, it was, yes, it
So,
was, yes, it was.
There were also some discussions about that as well, like
You're
whether
right,
it was
so about
appropriate use of
450, maybe.
CPA
Something
funds and
Yeah.
everything else. And other
Right, I
towns
forgot about the
had used
decision.
funding for it, so we have a
Okay.
little bit of a split.
was a
Any
mistake.
other
It should've been
discussions with the art?
Okay, well, I was hearing the presentation, and I was blown away by the depth and breadth of the presentation, how well it was presented, and the passion behind it. And that aside, I think it has to be done. I mean, we just can't, take one major pond in Harwich and just say, well, too bad, oh boy, you gotta go. We gotta find a cure for this, for the pond. And apparently, these funds will come up with a cure. find out what the reason is and come up with a proposal how to cure it. So that's I believe it's well worth spending that money. Like somebody else said there, we voted other things that I could kick to the side of the road, but I won't. And this one, I think, it leads the parade. So there you be.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything from anybody else? All right,
Okay.
moving on. Old
Oh,
business.
so we got old business.
Grant agreement update?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
We'll have to table that.
Listen, you got numbers.
Okay.
We finished
right.
up? Okay, next time.
Social media, Facebook.
I don't have materials with me, but I should have some next month. I'm working on things in anticipation of us putting forth and voting a recommendation and some posts that we can use to educate and drive folks to learn more in advance of town meeting, so we can have that discussion after we vote.
Okay, thank you. Website.
I don't have anything to say about the website. It's almost time to start thinking about next year's thing. And, I mean, almost, but these months will pass by, fly by. And I guess I'm just thinking about whether anybody wants to see anything change or whether it's just same thing all over again next year. We should have that discussion at some point, clearly not tonight.
Okay, will you bring that back so I can make that an agenda item at some point?
I will.
All right, thank you, John. All right, next meeting's agenda points. Anybody want anything on, Mary?
I would just like to point out that Historic did vote Lynn Zelisek to be our representative, so that a letter should have gone to Select Board to get her confirmed and appointed. So I will check into that and see if that's been done, but we did vote her last meeting.
Okay.
Yes?
Kathy?
Just a question about that. I mean, when the select board approves your representative, I mean, do we feel that it's appropriate that that person vote, given coming in at this late date and not having been part of the deliberations and
So
that kind of
I
thing?
would think if she's comfortable that she's watched the meetings and
That's,
reviewed the applications.
Okay.
that's where I'd go with that one. I mean, she spent whoever the person is, spent the time and effort to go through the documents, and we'll know during our discussion.
Sure.
So, I don't think that should hold them back. Anyway, anything from anybody else? Calendar,
Sorry, one other point.
go.
To John's point on the financials that I gave you, there's an error in the sum for the last column, so I will fix that, because it's got an extra $500,000 in there somehow, somewhere, so I will figure out where it's coming from and fix it.
So will you email this then?
We'll have different
Uh,
numbers.
I'm really, I will,
Maybe not?
I don't know, I will fix it for the next meeting, because I'm hoping we're gonna have real numbers before then anyway, but just so that you guys, if you're looking at it, that right column is off.
By 500?
Yeah, because it should be 2.3 and not 2.8. That
Oh.
bottom number, and I don't know
Oh,
why.
we were adding 500. We took 500 away. Oh, that's different.
I think it's probably adding across with the balances and not adding up and down, and it should add up and down.
Spreadsheets.
I think that's what it is. I think it's adding the balances as opposed to the expenditures.
Kathy?
Yeah, just, I wanted to note, I had a person contact me recently who watches these meetings on the cable network, and she said that, especially at this end of the table here, she really can't understand a lot of you some of the time. So I just mentioned that in
You're
that,
telling us that now?
well, I forgot at the beginning of the meeting, I'm sorry.
We'll yell next time.
We'll
But I'm
enunciate
just
better.
saying, like, so we have these
But we
big
don't know, yeah.
mics,
that.
We just have this little.
I know, so what I'm saying is that, you know, we just need to be more mindful of that.
There's an extra one over there.
Caleb,
Yeah, why don't we
Yeah,
just
take-
move that
hold
over?
on, before we finish. We're all set? Can I have a vote to adjourn, please?
Speak.
May I interject
Go ahead.
one? I was just noodling what Kathy said about bringing a new person into the fold at this late date. And I know on other boards, we have a strict process of rehabilitation when they have to do that. And I understand where Kathy's coming from and like credibility of the decision. Is there anything that we can do as a board or to help facilitate more easily getting this new person up to speed or providing them with documents in a different way or answering questions ahead of time so that they're fully prepped to participate?
Can I ask the question? I can ask my question. I've got a meeting
Okay.
next week with her.
Okay,
So,
just.
No,
it
it's
made me
good,
think.
it's a
I
good
appreciate
point,
that.
and the person has to have the time and be, you know,
Agreed.
want to watch the meetings.
I think she had started.
Okay,
Great.
I'm just saying, it's not,
It started beforehand, because it's been talked about for more months than it should have been.
Got it.
It was dropped off our agenda on a couple of occasions when it shouldn't have.
That's all.
Well, I'm looking at it from a pragmatic point of view. You're gonna be on this board, you're gonna wanna know what the information is to participate, plain
Agreed.
and simple. If not, what are you doing here?
do do
I
you,
know that's cruel, but
no, but do you know how many meetings,
It's a
I mean,
lot.
I've been on this committee since 2012, and I have sat here and listened to people ask questions that were right in front of them on the application, because they didn't read the application, so, you know.
people don't like to read, Kathy, you
I-
know that. Anyway. Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mary, I mean
Caleb,
Kathy and
now.
Marcy, you seconded it.